Hey, good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, the 24th. I should write this down in history because yesterday was the day Mason got his driving permit. Ah! Can you believe it? So today we're going to have a conversation about an interesting word. And again, I don't know why I struggle with this, but it just seemed to, this morning, I was doing a lot of variations of a theme. And this is the thing that kept coming up. What is this D, the prefix? And I'm learning a lot about English because now I know the difference between a prefix and a suffix. Only took 53 years, but. But this word dispel, do I spend precious energy looking? See, when we think of the word dispel, y'all can see the screen, yes? Okay. What do we need to find before we get started, right? Delay, dispel, decision, despicable, all of these things. This word dia means to put off, to put away. So let's talk about that. Dispel. Click it here. What do you dispel? I'm just going to throw all these up here. To make. It's dispel, the definition is to make disappear. A doubt, a feeling, a belief. What are we dispelling in our own life? The feeling of joy. What are we dispelling in our own life? The feeling of concern, of hate, of challenge. What are those things that we do that are around that? What conversation about your personality do you dispel? Right? This is those things. I'm going to throw a challenge out to everybody. I'd ask everybody to say, hey, listen, I was on a call today and they asked me, if you were to describe me, how would you describe me? If you were to say something about me, what would you say? And you'll be surprised at the things that people see in you, that we have dispelled. We have dispelled to be common, dispelled to be ordinary in our own life. What are your current thoughts about income that you dispel? Oh, you got to be rich to do this. You got to know more stuff to do that. How about your current thoughts dealing with your self-talk? Oh, the challenge with our self-talk that makes our own success disappear is that we don't even hear it. We don't even hear it. If you've ever been at a table, sitting at a table where something has fallen off and you grabbed it and somebody goes, nice reflexes. Your body didn't even have the time. Your brain, conscious brain, didn't even have the time to get into that conversation. Right? If you watch baseball at all, don't have to like it, but if you ever watched it, the conscious brain doesn't have enough time to determine where that ball is coming from to hit it. So you have to dispel this fact that you're in control of your thoughts. We're not. Our self-talk runs us. What ideas around your family, right? The 5 pillars, 6 pillars if you're spiritual. Family, finances, body, mind, and society. What is your ideas that you need to dispel around that? Have you ever just sat down to look at when I think of family, what ideas do I have that might be skewed? When I look at my body, what ideas do I have about my body that might be skewed? See, for the longest time, I was 200 and almost 50 pounds. I was 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound sack. I wasn't the biggest thing on the planet, but I was husky, right? That's the words we give it. Oh, he's husky. He's healthy. So now, after I dropped 35 pounds, 35 pounds, now I'm in this range, right? We get these plateaus. We get into these zones. My income level is in a zone that I'm dispelling it. How I relate to society. I think society, so-city, that's not how you spell society, so-city. I haven't dispelled my thoughts around spelling yet. But if you just take some time to think about that, what are the things that we need to make disappear. But what are the things in our life that have already disappeared, been stacked under, been put underneath? How many of us have found that piece of paper at the bottom of the pile? How many of us might find what we're really looking for at the bottom of our own ideas and thoughts and concepts? How much time do you put into dispelling your own future? It's really comes down to, you know, when you hear about these people who meditate 2 hours a day. Now, this morning, I only got about 35 minutes of meditation in. And I can tell you, if you do anything on a regular basis, it's funny when you shorten it up, how it doesn't seem like you really did that much at all. How much time do we put into dispelling our own future? Right? Fear, false evidence appearing real, face everything and run, whatever name you want to come up with it, whatever idea you want to come up with, what is it that we're not experiencing now? Because I can tell you, there's a very large percentage of the world who wishes they had everything we had. All of our goods, all of our bads, all of our wonders, all of our really wonder what the hells. All of this stuff exists. Do you know the opposite of dispel? That kind of it surprised me when I did the synonyms, antonyms. I'm going to show you some examples here in just a second. And see, what are your dispel habits in yourself? Are you somebody who doesn't receive recognition well? Might you need to dispel that fact? Are you somebody who doesn't take help very well? No, I got it. I'm okay. Are you somebody that finds it weird to say, I love you? Are you somebody who finds it weird when somebody says, I love you? Well, you shouldn't do that. Just be aware of it. Not that it's good or bad. It's not, there is no right or wrong. There just is where you are at now, and then decide, is that serving you? Is your concept of dispel serving you? Because I can tell you, I get people all the time telling me, do you really think you should wear those loud shirts? I go, I'm so glad you're in my life. It's just crazy what happens when we forget who we're living this life for. Well, I'm not all about me. I'm going to dispel that fact. It's not about me. It can only be about you. If you want to go save the world, you got to take care of you. You got to go make a lot of money. Right? Wallace D. Wattles, you have a right to be rich. And if there's services or talents or resources that you could use to make the world a better place, but you need income to get it, you have a right to be rich. It would help you to dispel some things, some current concepts that you live with. So here's some dispel synonyms. See, I wasn't 100% sure I knew what the word dispel meant. I kind of knew it. Oh, let's just dispel with the facts. Let's just dispel with the niceties. Let's just put away with, chase away, dismiss, disperse, dissipate, eliminate. Eliminate? What would I want to eliminate in my life? Every experience is a learning, right? So it was interesting when I did that. But then when I went to the antonyms, the opposites of dispel, to gather, to accumulate, what are some more ideas you need to accumulate about yourself that are the good ones? That's why I'm encouraging you. I know it seems weird. Oh, well, I'm not going to do that. Okay. My mentor would say, you're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. I would encourage you to go put out there saying, hey, listen, I was on a call today and I'm challenged to grow myself. What would you say, if you were to describe me, what would you say about me? And if you're uncomfortable with it, private message me. But I would encourage you, sometimes we need to wave our own frickin' flag and dispel with the niceties that, well, I just want to get along. No, you don't. I shouldn't say that. I don't want to get along. Because there's always more I can get along with. Make yourself at home. Now, see, that one kind of threw me. I get what it means. But make yourself at home. How many times we talk about getting out of your comfort zone? Well, we don't even know what zone we're in. Dispel with the fact that you're stuck in a zone. It's the ideas that we need to construct to build ourselves. Is this making sense? I hope so. Little farm boy brain's working hard this morning. Take stock in what you currently dispel. There are certain things that you use to dispel that have served you. Right? I don't know if some of you saw my little, I'm doing these little 20, 30-second comicals, you know, and the one, it's a scam. I'm like, you know what? We talk about it all the time. And it's a big thing that causes people to get stuck. But what if we made it funny, right? Humor, the one who controls the laughter in the room controls the room. So what if we could start to make these things that we know that are out there that people are going to say to us, that if somebody says it's a scam, they start to laugh about it instead of get frustrated about it. So these are little things that from my experience, right? Become aware of what you are not dispelling. What are you not making disappear? See, sometimes we focus on one direction. I need to set my why. I need to set my goals. I'm going to do this. I'm going to journal every day. I'm going to get up at 6:30 in the morning. Great. Those are all of the things you're doing. Do you know what you're not doing? When you're doing those things, what are you not doing? Right? Me, I'm not sleeping. I'm not sitting there talking about how good life could be, talking about all the things I could do. I get my ass out of bed and I go do it. What emotional triggers might you need to dispel? And these emotional triggers happen in all of the 5 areas of our life, even the 6th area if you're spiritual. How many of us, by show of hands, the ones that I can see, by show of hands, how many of us have a family member that when we get around them, without them knowing it, they push our buttons? So, what if you walked up to them? I'm going to see if I can grab this without messing something up. What if you went to Best Buy and you know that button that says easy? And you walked up to them and go, hey, would you do me a favor and just push this real quick? Because you've got to create a new trigger. And when they push that, it'll say, that was easy. And now they no longer bother you. We need these external things to sometimes trigger us. What if you put that was easy on again, here's my farm brain going, on Velcro, and you just taped it to your shoulder, and you walked around with an easy button on your shoulder all day. And when you got nervous, you tapped it and it goes, that was easy. Why not? Everybody thinks you're nuts anyways. Just prove it. So there's a lot of triggers, whether it be family, whether it be finances, right? We have an RV, and BB&T is the loan company for that. And whenever I see BB&T mail come in, that it just triggers this whole, because we went through some financial challenges, well, for almost 10 years, with our home being destroyed and all of the almost $1 million in debt. All of that being said, every time I would see how many of us still get a thing? If you got something in the mail from the IRS or the government, doesn't your heart just go, I'm not opening that, right? So what emotional triggers do we need to address and adapt and adopt? You walk into a house and smell chocolate chip cookies. Smell is one of the greatest senses that brings us back to memory, right? All of these little triggers, there's always these triggers, these things that if I showed up in a white shirt, kind of like when I did my Kyle Wilson video yesterday, somebody said, are you okay? They private messaged me, are you okay? I go, why? You were in a white shirt. I'm like, oh, okay, no, everything's fine. It was the first one I could grab out of the closet. Find what frustrates you. Can that be dealt with by dispelling the thought attached to the frustration? See, that came out of my fingers. That wasn't Me thinking. Think about what your family member that frustrates you. My sister-in-law. I won't tell you which one of the two. You got a 50-50 chance. But my sister-in-law, absolutely, there's this thing that I have that's a trigger because of something she did 15 years ago. 15 years ago she did it. And that trigger is still there. It is still emotionally wired. And as good as I believe that I am on a regular basis to adapt and adopt my own thought process, I can tell you that trigger is still there. And so the way I know when it starts to pop up, anybody ever plant any bulbs, right? Flowers. And every year they come back up. And if the weather's warmer than it should, that we go, oh, the plants think it's spring. Well, that's what's happening around here in Dallas right now. The bulbs are popping up. Well, when they pop up, you know something's growing. I'm going to encourage you, when these feelings start to pop up, make sure you recognize it. Don't just go, oh, there it is again. I got no control. You've got to make that decision. Decision is to cut off. Do you want to keep that thing from growing? Because I could go out right now and pull up all of those. I'd want to say daffodils maybe. And they got that little green sprout that sticks up, but they're all up about that high. I could go up and pull every one of them out right now. It wouldn't be hard at all. You know, it'll be hard when 200 of them are growing out there and I got to go try to pull them all. Not a good idea. Be aware of it. Lynn Grabhorn in her book, Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting, talks about that's the opening of the valve. If you're going to open the valve, if you're going to have a shitty day, open the damn valve. Don't pussyfoot around it. Don't go, well, today was over. Go have a pity party. Call up two friends and go, 1, 2, 3, aw. Go down that well quick. But that's a trigger. So sometimes these triggers they're like that little scab, right? That you don't know that you have, and then all of a sudden you scratch it and your leg is bleeding and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know that was happening. Find what frustrates you, and can it be dealt by dispelling the thought or association attached to that? Oof. What are some thoughts you might dispel? What are some habits? What are some people you might dispel? Your top 10. And if you need more paper, go ahead and add more paper. Now, again, inside a Daily Awakening, the Facebook community, I'm doing my best to put these slides up. So if you ever wanted to go grab one of these slides, they're there in PowerPoint. Here's the things. If we dispel something, if we put away, if we hide, I wouldn't encourage you to hide. Disintegrate. Get it the hell out. What's the fear of looking at the things, right? The fear I might have of looking at the situation with my sister-in-law is like, what do I miss? What am I missing by having that, holding on to that grudge, holding on to that thought or idea? So what I do is I say, you know what? I'm in the now. That was then. And I need to be present. I need to be aware of the now. And so the fear is, am I giving up a grudge? And if I give up a grudge, it's got to be filled with something. Maybe that's the hard part for me, is that I don't usually have grudges. Usually I say. So then the next question is what do I fill that hole with? When you take something out, what do you fill it with? Because the neural pathways in the brain are already connected to hold that space. The things that we have running, every thought you said, every thought you've ever had, everything that's ever been said to you, everything you've ever said has been recorded in your brain. That which you repeat on a regular basis becomes permanent. Half of us right now couldn't remember people's phone numbers that we used to know all the time, but you could tell me the phone number you grew up with. Right? You can't tell me your best friend's phone number. I couldn't tell you Scott Schilling's phone number. I couldn't tell you Elaine's phone number. I couldn't tell you Leslie's phone number. I just know I got to spell it right in my book and go find it. So what's the fear of actually giving up that idea? And the sadness is that, okay, so for maybe 3 or 4 years there, I didn't want to associate with my sister-in-law because of how bad she made, how inconvenient she made a situation. So the sadness is that I probably spent 3 years being a jerk to myself and maybe to her, probably mostly. The excited part is that what's the renewal now? What's the awareness that anytime I have a conversation, I use interesting triggers in my own life. So you'll never, it's very rare, very, very, very rare that you'll ever hear me say the word HATE. I don't even like to utter it. If I don't like what somebody's doing and it really, really frustrates me, I'll say, oh my God, that's fascinating. I've never seen anybody do fascinating as well as they do fascinating, because every word has a vibration. So I choose the words that run through my soul. So the excited part is I wrote some new rules. Now I can have fun through me with her. And how many times have you had a great giggle and nobody got the joke? You follow me? And then now that's just normal. I have a set of parameters that I will let myself go down so far, right? A good Irish saying, may the best of your yesterdays be the worst of your tomorrows. And I'm constantly doing my best to keep moving that high bar up. And so that my new low is most people's greatest highs. But it's a decision. What is your discipline? What will I dispel in me today that allows what I desire? Think about this for a second. In order for you, how many of us have winter clothing? And if we went, and you're cold in the house, and so you go put on a jacket, and then you go outside in the sun to get warm. It's a 70-degree day. It's a 35-degree day outside, real warm day, centigrade. And if you got your jacket on, you won't get warm, but you'll get hot. How do you let the sun warm you? Sometimes you got to take the jacket off. How will you let your heart warm you? How will you let your spirit warm you? How will you let the universe embrace you? Sometimes we got to take something off. What is that thing that you would need to take off, to dispel, do away with? What will happen if you dispel more in accordance with your desire? Right? If you go and dispel the thoughts that are holding you back, what's the word that comes to mind? If you start dispelling thoughts that are holding you back, I can tell you the word that runs through my head is selfish. Oh, you're just being selfish. It's all about you, right? That's the big challenge when we go to dispel these things. We live in accordance with what's accepted by our friends, our family, our society, our environment, right? Anybody live in a community where there's homeowner rules, homeowners association, right? Sometimes you can't put a mailbox up, or you gotta go get a permission to put a plant in. They set these rules. So that's my conversation this morning on Dispel. And again, I had these arguments this morning with myself. They don't last long because not any of us are really that smart, but the conversation were, well, defraud, debate, this. What are we not doing of? And so the word dispel came up with. So what pops into your head now that we have this conversation on dispel?
Let me tell you. Oh, interesting. I was a little late getting on, so I don't know if there was an acronym involved, but it's so interesting that we're on this topic this morning, because I've got to tell you, I'm so full of joy. When you were asking me what your question, what your word is when you dispel things, for me, it's joy. I am full of it this morning. Just I was thinking how much I've changed in the last 24 hours, and the Lord put it on my heart, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I've certainly been doing that in the Word, but this misfit call in the morning has been slowly downloading, and I've been feeling a shift, and it's been coming and coming and coming. And then yesterday, when I talked about my childhood experience when Dad tried to teach me, to become alive and take part in He made me walk through those boys, which felt like going through a gauntlet. The Lord showed me, you know, Emily, you've done that. You've overcome the greatest fears that you could overcome. And then Linda and I were working on vision boards yesterday. And I was saying, you know, like some of my dreams, are not, do not seem that great, and they do. And then I started, the more we did it, the more I opened up to the possibilities. And this morning I looked in the mirror and I thought, you know, oh, wow, there you are. I haven't seen you in ages. And it's, so like my feeling of joy today is just immense because I'm dispelling the doubt and the fear and the anxiety and the angst. And I'm ready to just get involved again. Like, it's like, oh, that's where I am this morning.
Did I get an amen?
Amen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Incredible.
There's that phrase, all the difference a day makes. Thank you, Emily, for sharing that.
Well, myself too, I've been doing some brain surgery in the last, well, I'm doing a 21 brain detox. Like, I don't know if you know Dr. Caroline Leaf, because I know there's been issues in my life or things in my life that I don't even know that are there, these thoughts that are there. When you're talking about that this morning, Sean, about pulling those things out, that's what I've been doing lately. And I've been like very visual with that and journaling and whatnot. And this community has helped me tremendously to do a deeper dive as well too. And I love it. It's so crazy what we've been going through, what's all been happening in our lives. But I know with myself, just personally myself, the thoughts, when you stop and think about what you've been thinking about, it's like, oh my goodness, you know, and how we let those things just kind of run freely in there and thinking that, do I have any control over that at all? And yeah, we do. We have 100% control over all of that. So I'm just thankful for this community, and I'm the same way too. Is this huge awakening that's happening within me too, and it's like I'm still going like, is this really happening? Is this so, you know what I mean? And it's like, and the Holy Spirit saying to me, yes, Linda, it is. You are so on the right track. Keep on keeping on, girl. Because what I'm experiencing now, I know I'll never go back to where I was ever. And it's just really exciting. I just want to thank this community for it because my God, it's just life changing.
Elaine, I know you're coming. I want to share one more thing because it's such a big issue for me. I decided a few days ago that I was going to overcome this arthritis in my body. And so I just started telling myself every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better because I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I'm telling you, I couldn't have done that a few days ago without pain. I couldn't have raised my arms up. Oh my God, look at me. It's all because I changed my thoughts. I changed what I allowed myself to believe. Woo!
Well, if that's not a testament for life.
Well, good morning, Emily.
Yeah. Oof. Not that she was ever a wallflower, but we're
no.
so glad that this wallflower is now turned into this vase of joy.
Oh my goodness, that is so cool to see, and I'm blessed I got to be a part of, witness all of that this morning, watching changes happen. It's so cool. You know, I'm Sean, when you're going through all this, I remember that day in Florida. I can see it right now at that round table in that hotel room we were at. And you were working on this very thing with us. And you had me put on it. Was like, I think this was like, oh my gosh, the beginnings of Facebook kind of thing. But you had me put this very thing on there, get somebody to put, and I was terrified to do this because of all of the thoughts that I had of what people would think. And it took me a while, and you kept coaching me, saying, no, you need to go do it. You have to do this. And we're not moving forward until you go do this. And so I'm going to do it again today. But I just, it kind of brought all of that up of back then, and thoughts had to be dispelled. You had to get, I had to personally get rid of them. But something you talked about, and I just wanted to share, you were talking about the, oh my goodness, you know, acknowledge the thought, acknowledge the feeling, and get over it, right? Rick will always tell somebody, you know, hey, do you have a ladder? Well, good, climb it and get over the wall. Like, just be done with it. That's kind of his contractor metaphor. But in business, and we adapted it with recently and with our grown kids. And for those of us that are in networking, we always know that at the end of the month, it's the end of the month. And it's like, you know, we try to get as much done as we can. We've maybe set a goal. And even in life, if we've set that goal and we've missed it, for whatever reason, we tried really hard and we missed it, there's always that pity party involved because, you know, I didn't cut it, I'm not good enough. You go through all of these things. And one of the ways that we did it in a you know, that was really cool, and we noticed a lot of people were able to work through challenges, was at the first day of the month, we would have a call and we would let everybody know, hey, listen, for those of you that didn't achieve what you were wanting to, you need to go acknowledge it, spend time with it, and then get over it. Allow yourself so many hours. If it's 5 hours, 6 hours, this is my time that I'm just going to kind of, I don't even want to use the word wallow in it, but to just acknowledge the fact that, okay, I didn't do it. I didn't hit my goal, but then come out of it and be okay and move on, but don't dwell on it. So it was allowing yourself the time to have that pity party, like you said, but then move on. And so, you know, we've kind of adapted that in with our girls, like when they've got something going on and they're frustrated. And so we'll have that conversation about, okay, so what are your thoughts on it? What can you do about it? Okay, just go and, you know, be sad for a while if you need to, but when you get up in the morning, it's over. You start a new day. There's no more of this wallowing, because I've got one I'm working with right now, just a lot of life stuff with her. And it's like, okay, look, you need to stop. These words are, you know, they're migrating into your family. So it's time to move on. Like, you've got to get over this. And I have that conversation in a few hours with her too. So, but this is incredible. And I'm definitely up for that challenge, because I know that for me too, there's, you know, there's words, Emily, like what you were saying, things you've gone through and thoughts you've had, and it's go and have a look in the mirror and go, hey, there I am. Which brings me back to that Hook movie, if anybody ever watched it, where the little boy grabs a hold of Peter Pan's face and says, there you are, right? And he pulls him back and you can see him again. So that just reminded me of that, Emily. So thanks for that.
So isn't it amazing how when we decide, cut off, right, Danya? When we decide, cut off, the things that open up, right? There is this ball of energy inside of us. That's why I always ask, where do you feel this? When I think the more and more that with science and technology, because too many people have always said 20 years ago when we all started on this path, oh, that's just a bunch of woo-woo stuff, because we couldn't explain it. Einstein couldn't explain quantum mechanics. He called it spooky theory at a distance. Now it's called quantum entanglement. We actually can define it and decide it and prove it. All of this stuff that we can prove, the physiology of where the woman that you're going to go have a conversation with, Elaine, I'd ask her, where do you feel this? When you say those words, where do you feel it? And then use that. And I love that. And watch this. Every time I do this, I did this with a very dear friend of mine just recently. She called me and she said, blah, 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 blah. I said, where do you feel it? She said, in here. Everybody feels it in here. Women always feel it in here. You know if it's an emotional thing. But the funny thing is that despair and frustration and angst all show up here. But where does love show up too? It's the opposite side of the same coin. And as soon as you say, I love it, guess what can reveal itself? Ask where it moves. I've had people where they said, my ankle hurts. I go, so when did you hurt your ankle? When you were a child? I go, how'd you know that? The body will remind you. It's not that I'm this genius. I'm not going on TV. I'm not going to go get my own Discovery Channel going, somebody here lost somebody that they were male. Right? Now, I don't doubt that there's people who can have that connection, because I've had that before. I say all of that to say this. When we give away stuff, right? How many of us have a hard time going to the Goodwill, right? if we give away, I'm looking at some heads. Okay, so sometimes guys like to hold on to stuff. I say that to say, I would encourage you, I'm going to challenge you, go on Facebook and say, because the reason that I'm saying, say that you were on a call is so that your subconscious doesn't absolutely have a heart attack and pass out there on the keyboard, because you're going to go, listen, I want you to tell me how great I am. I'll type that. I want you to tell me how great you think I am. I'm done talking about me. Why don't you talk about me for a while? Just go say, I was on a call this morning and I was tasked with asking my audience, if you were to describe me, how would you describe me? And just pay attention. It is overwhelming. I've had people do that. I've had people who have really held up, and I said, I want you to call them, private message them, because they weren't ready to do it out in the world, private message them and say, what would you say that I do well? And the stories that came back, she said, I've been crying for an hour. Love you, babe. The stories that were overwhelming. She said, I was crying for an hour. She said, I had no idea people saw me as that good. Well, by God, just like Emily said, hello, there you are. What are we waiting for? The end game is death. It's not another bill next month. It's not another rank next month. It's not another whatever. The end game is death. And how many of us know how much time is in the top of our hourglass? I dare you to say you know. We all know how much is in the bottom. What else is coming up? What else are you feeling? Anybody else? I'm surprised. I'm totally just amazed every day. I'm glad that it connects, right? Because there's a part of my ego, right? Farm boy from Ohio, 0.9 grade point average. Now, I did eventually graduate with a 3.2, only because I was doing personal development with all of my teachers in high school. Short of that, but I did learn how to learn, and that's what I think has gotten me to here. So there's always a part of me that goes, you're gonna throw that word out? And I kind of sit on the sidelines. You ever watch people arguing and you can tell the argument has no validity? It's just egos arguing, and they're eventually going to kiss and hug in anyways, and like in a matter of minutes. And so I become the observer of my own conversation, and I go, really? I sent you this word, right? I sent you the helicopter, I sent you the boat, I sent you the guy, and you're wondering why you wound up here. So I hear all of this stuff and I go, okay, dispel's the word. Let me go use that. What else is showing up for anybody? I'd encourage you this, right? Documentation beats conversation. How many times have we heard that? In Daily Awakening, write a thought, write a code word, write something that maybe only you understand, or if you want to explain it, that'd be fine too. But write something in Daily Awakening that you might dispel, that you need help on dispelling. That when you see that word, right? If you see this, right, and I show you that, right, you may not have known what that was because it's a funky color, but if you saw that, you know that's a car charger. So if you write car charger, you know what that means to you. We may not know what it means, but if you put it out there, if you put out the concept, the idea, the thought, the desire inside of Daily Awakening, and let us pour energy into it, I can promise you that stuff works. We're all connected. Anybody who comes into that community, it's almost like the force. Ooh, the force is strong with that one. Somebody just joined Daily Awakening. And I'll go and I'll click on it and it goes, one person wants to join. And I'm like, yay! There's not 10,000 joining. Awesome. One. Woohoo! And I usually look at who they're related to. So I say all of that to say it's time to shed that debilitating, that delusional self. Parts of it, piece of it, right? In the thing that makes a comedy funny is when somebody goes, "Can I take your jacket?" and they rip off the sleeves, right? It's like, well, that's not normal. What are the things that we can do to begin to dispel that old self? How many of us have ever seen a butterfly come out of its, I think the word is chrysalis, right? When you come out, when that butterfly comes out, try to tell the butterfly, that butterfly who's brand new, hey, listen, you're not being a good caterpillar. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? You're not being a good caterpillar. Why don't you need to be a better caterpillar? The butterfly goes, what the hell are you talking? I'm not, I can only be a butterfly. I've changed. How many of us have believed we changed, but in that change, we're still trying to be a better of what we don't want to be? I can be like a cool gangster. Y'all feeling me? How's this sitting with everybody? Y'all good? Anybody got say something? Anybody feeling something? Anybody, have we stirred something up that needs a little unstirring or diluting or throwing the bathwater out?
I'm just going to say, to put something on Facebook and asking people to what they think about you is like, oh my gosh, it's like, are you kidding me right now? And yeah, are you kidding me right now?
Okay, so where are you feeling that, Linda?
I'm feeling it more in my, like, I guess it's in my chest area. It's in my back. It's like, oh my gosh, you just kind of cringe up because I'm thinking like.
So,
oh. And I love that. Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm telling you, the mirror that Emily has seen herself in.
Yeah.
The mirror we all see ourselves in gets shattered when we go ask our friends, what do you think of me? I'm telling you, in order for things to take effect, there has to be some root to it. This is one of those root causes. Again, I can still see Elaine. There was the bedroom. I had my back to the window. They were sitting there. There was a little round table. The window was behind us. The bedroom was there. The entrance door was here, and she just broke out in a sweat. Yeah. Now, I was a little bit more of an, I don't know, maybe an asshole back then. Maybe I'm still an asshole. But my point is that I knew that had to be done. I just didn't know how to cajole to move people through it a little easier. But there's these things, there's nothing worse than a reformed smoker, right? I was just smoking 7 packs a day, blah, 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 and then I stop and I go, you should stop. You're an idiot for not doing it. It's like, you're a jackass for. So now that I think I've matured, I hope, well, I've gotten older anyways, but this process of awakening to, gosh dang it, sometimes we need to be reminded just how freaking good we are and go from there.
You know, Sean, it's, and I'm still here, so that's okay. I love you. It is really hard to hear things about ourselves. You know, we've got our own mindset and image of ourselves that we've created. And there can be that, it's weird when you're looking for, or you've got that addiction to approval, but then you hear people say good things about you. It really messes with your mind because you're not sure. You're like, really? I am? And then you know, and then why do we question what people say, especially when 5 or 6 of them all say it in a row, and those 5 or 6 don't know each other. So it is a challenging thing to do. It's an eye-opener. But Linda, what I would say, because I will start mine off, watch what I do. I've learned so much about being transparent that there were days when I was trying to climb the ladder and thought, well, if I was like them, or if I spoke like that person, or if I, you know, contacted somebody and used their script, that I would succeed. And it took a long time to throw that to the wayside and go, just be you. And if they don't like me, well, that's okay. There's a lot more people out there. But that took a long time. And there are times I still struggle. I'm definitely not like on that perfect high road. But I would start out with exactly what you said. Are you kidding me right now? I would go, are you kidding me right now? I was just challenged, because your friends will know that this is, oh my gosh, she's doing this. But when you put that out there, I might put something like, okay, scary moment, here we go. I have to, you know, I've been challenged to do this. So, and the weird thing is, you will see some of your friends, they will go and do it too because they're curious. Not everybody will, but a couple will go and not copy, but put the same thing up because they want to know what people think about them. Not everybody will. But if you start it with something where you're just being raw and real and, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this, you know, who'd have thought, whatever, it breaks the ice for you to actually put it up there because you kind of made it funny at the beginning, right? I'm totally out of my comfort zone. Can't believe it.
That's a good answer. Good. Yeah, that's a good word for me.
It is. And then the next part that's a challenge that I try to do, and it can be challenging, is comment on their comment. You know, that's an interesting one too, to just say thank you. Do I just say thank you? You go through these, what do I say now? And how, so that's kind of in that being able to receive what they say. So there's a huge lesson in here, Sean, in, okay, I'm going to go do it. My hands are kind of cold. It's like, okay.
So, Dr. Wayne Dyer said that it was very hard for him. Maslow said, be independent of the good opinion of other people. See, we're all worried about what people think of us and what they say bad about us, and we try to dispel that. Look, there's that word. We try to dispel what people say that are bad, that's bad about us. But it runs in our head in a conversation at 14,000 words. 14,000 words a minute we can think. We can speak 200 if we're really fast. 14,000 words. In between every word I'm saying that you're hearing, there's a whole litany, a whole paragraph of a conversation that's nexting. Remember the word nexting, or how our brain nexts. So when I say, go ask people what they love about you, your brain is nexting going, that sentence has never appeared in my mind. And I will, if I go ask people, why, listen, tell me how great I am. That is so egotistical. But remember what ego is, edging God out. If we're made in his likeness and his greatness, or whatever spiritual being or higher power you believe in, if you believe that there's a greatness inside of you, then by God, why are you hiding it? And so again, go through, as Elaine said, she went through this years, and she's done it over the years. I've seen her do this. But go through this process of where all of a sudden now she's like, yeah, I'm going to go do this. It's a little nervy, but I know what it can do. I know when I hear it, it changes my state. So it's powerful to do this.
I'm definitely going to do it. I definitely am. But I'm the one that's always encouraging. I'd rather tell you how wonderful you are, and I would rather listen to you. And you know what I mean? That's how I've been programmed.
So part of this reciprocity, right? Yeah. So the law of reciprocity is one of the greatest laws ever when we understand it. It's called forced indebtedness, right? In our 14-day challenge we just did with Ray Higdon, he said, if you're going to go make a post, and if you don't have 5 to 8 minutes to go engage other posts beforehand, to click like, to click love, to leave a comment, if you don't engage before your post, you're not forcing the law of algorithms, or in this case, the law of reciprocity. You go like a whole bunch of people's just before your post, it drives up your algorithms, it drives up all of the connections of people back to you. So when you go out and you put this post, you're going to drive up the connection, right? Because you're finally giving people, you, the giver, are finally giving a chance for people to give back to you. Oh my God, Linda asked, oh yeah, no, here's all the things I love about you, blah, 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 blah. But here's what I would say. Maslow said, be independent of the good opinion of other people. Take it, look at it, and go, wow, I didn't know they knew that. But then don't go get on that horse and go, look how good I am. That makes sense? It's as simple as the exercise is, the most difficult part of this exercise will be to hit the post button.
Yeah.
You'll think 1,000 different ways how to create the post. Put the blame on me. This is why I say, put the blame on me. Yep. Oh my God, scary moment. I was just challenged. Let them be mad at me, which they're not going to be. They're going to be grateful to me, but it's you. But I'm saying, but your subconscious needs this going, okay, Sean asked me to ask you how good I am.
Yeah. No, I've already wrote it out. I already wrote it down. I'm going to post it. Yeah.
Cool. And I would encourage everybody to do that.
Yeah.
And if you don't, that's okay. You don't have to. Listen, this is where we get to use the words you get to. You get to do this. Because I can promise you, somebody watching this recording who hasn't been through the experience, let's just say they joined Daily Awakening and they click on Dispel and they watch this thing and they get to this part and they go, these people are freaking nuts. Right? They haven't been through the 30 days of conversations that we've had. 30 days of conversation, not a month of, 2 phone calls. This is truly a carving of a greatness and a revealing, right? They asked Michelangelo one time, how did you make David? Does anybody know what his answer was? I don't know, I wasn't there, so this is the only answer I heard. I chippy away everything that's not David. How freaking cool is that answer? How did you carve this masterpiece? I just chipped away everything that wasn't him. That sits with me every morning going, what do I need to chip away that's this old Sean, that's this fodder for the floor. Y'all are awesome. God, I feel so smart when I come on these calls. I have such great friends. And the fact, I don't know, maybe you all get together before I get on, because Linda, you're on like at 5:30 in the morning sometimes. I go, well, you have friends waiting, you have guests waiting on your Zoom call. But I'll get on here and it's like, I don't know if you all talk beforehand going, okay, when he comes on, let's let him feel smart. Well, there you go, folks. What an amazing conversation about a simple concept, right? But these things are sitting there. That's what makes it so neat. They're things that, how many times have you gone to an event and they go, okay, we're going to spend the next hour talking about the word dispel. No, they're going to spend the next hour telling you why you should buy their package or commitment or blah, blah, blah. I'm going to dispel that. We're going to change the way personal ungrowth, personal undevelopment takes place. That's my thought. I love you all. I'll be looking for your posts. Give me a chance to go love you. I'll see you where? At the next event.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now, everybody.
Bye.